Hey everybody! Damn it, I am Mad Max of Maxwell Manor, and someday I will be able to get through that fucking thing without fucking up the intro. And we're gonna play more Final Fantasy, but first, whoa shit, I'm gonna take my nightly pills. This might be a very short stream. And the reason being is because I took a 4-hour nap. So I'm either going to be out in a couple of hours at 11, or I'm going to be up all goddamn night. Luckily, I have a very long recommended videos, or reactionary videos. Hate blister packs. But, regardless, I'm going to take all my medicine, because although my sleeping routine might be fucked, or it might not be, my pills cannot afford to be fucked. And you know what goes great with medication? Scotch. See if that shows up. Yeah, that's the rest of the scotch. I'm gonna be sipping that all damn night. Let's see if my new thing worked. Hey, it did! Yay! Last of the scotch. Final fornication and reactions. Jesus Christ. Alright. So the first reaction is from your boy Brad. As you can see, I am doing my Lancer stuff. Everything else is, got Warrior, got Scholar, got Summoner. So, let's see what this thing is. Hole up, Snow White.
Lorana! Oh, there you are!
My locket! Oh, Tripper, you found it! Look, Stedman, Tripper found my locket.
Good job, Rabbit.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you! My mother gave me this locket before she was eaten by that nasty old grizzly bear. You are a true friend.
Anything for you, milady?
Simp.
I can't wait to show Prince Peter.
Actually, Lorana, there was something I wanted to ask you.
Oh, Tripper, anything.
How long we been friends now?
8 years, I believe.
8 years, 3 months, 2 days.
Simp.
You know I'd do anything for you, right?
Yes, and I you.
And you know that I love you, right?
Yes, and I you.
Let's quit playing games. That prince ain't right for you. I love you, and I'm willing to risk our friendship to explore this connection. We owe it to ourselves to at least try. We belong together.
Ew.
Tripper, that's so sweet, but I'm sorry. I'm in love with Prince Peter.
Really? Prince Peter, after all I've done for you? God, Pecker was right. You're a tease.
What? Oh, Pecker?
Yeah?
Did you call me a tease?
Yeah, because you are one. All the birds feel the same way. You cuddle up to us, sing us those sexy little songs, let us see you naked. They don't mean nothing. You wouldn't date none of us. You're just using us to make you free dresses.
This is ludicrous. Tripper, you can't feel like this.
Some dickhead prince breaks your heart. It's like, oh, Tripper, make me feel better. Or if you're having a bad day, it's, oh, Tripper, let me pet your belly. When's the last time you asked me about my day? Or let me pet your belly, Lorana? It's bullshit. I get all the boyfriend duties and none of the pussy.
I can't believe this.
I can't believe he said it.
Critters of the forest, we need to talk.
Yeah, come on, critters. Her Highness beckons.
By a show of hand or paw or hoof, how many of you think I'm a tease?
Yo.
What?
Ah, I rest my case.
She's totally a tease.
Oh yeah, for sure a tease. And honestly, you can be a little cold.
Of course I'm cold to you. You ate my mother.
Fair enough.
Oh,
Fair enough.
I cannot even. Excuse excuse me for not lifting my skirt for every squirrel that offers to crack a nut for me.
Eh.
You guys buddied up to me. You follow me around. If you only do nice things for me because you're trying to get some and it doesn't work out, that doesn't make me a prude. That makes you all presumptuous douchebags. I thought we were friends. Turns out you're just a bunch of self-centered perverts who are gonna get all butthurt when a girl who's out of your league doesn't let you sniff her asshole for helping her out of jam. F you! I mean, Jesus, did you ever think that maybe I'm just not into sex with animals?
Come on, girl. We both know that's a lie.
Ruh-roh.
Oh my God!
What the fuck? Okay, Brad, that was a good one. Alright, what do we got on the docket today? How effective are giant swords? Medieval Europe was peaceful, diverse, and wasn't white. Absolute mad lads Rob Roy. And if we get to it, the dog is really obsessed with sword fighting. Maybe we should start with the sword fighting dog. I think we will. So, yeah, here we go.
I present to you your weapon.
Pinto Bean had spent a lot of time watching us make skits using fake swords.
Nerds! So the reason I wanted to show this video is I think this is a degree of intelligent more than Chip. I think this dog is 1 degree intelligent more than Chip, because Chip could learn to do this. Chip could not do this intuitively like this dog does.
All the swords we use,
But it's still a really cute video.
saw us fighting each other and was like, okay, that's how it's done. But we didn't teach her, we didn't train her.
We didn't expect it from her. If I asked her to drop her sword, she's dropping it in a second.
Oh no, and you've been slain by the wolf.
She dropped her stick, picked up the fake sword that I was holding, and ran away with it.
Oh no, and she has upgraded her weaponry.
At that moment, our lives changed forever.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
There's a lady here who wants
Man
to speak to
bun.
the manager.
What does she want?
I don't know, ma'am. What do you want?
We're out of treats. So fierce with it.
Yeah.
I think you've been neglecting someone.
Oh, they're really pretty. Really pretty, Pinto. Really.
From that moment, she's conquered all the lands with her might.
And she comes down with a strong paw on anyone who would defy her. Very much so, including the vacuum.
Come on, you know it's not that bad.
She must be stopped.
And so we have this incredibly epic sword fight.
Uh-huh. Hamstrung.
We really play it up that she's fierce, and that's not her character at all.
She is a huge couch potato. When we do start playing, she can go for hours and hours.
And she does not go lightly with her weapon.
Pinto, I'm sorry, but a great sadness has happened. Her sword, her brand new one, could not take her might. It was too weak to stand up against the might of Pinto Bean.
We gave her old sword a nice farewell ceremony as a thank you and remembrance for all of the great service it had done.
So we got a new sword.
It's here. It's here. It's here.
Look!
It was almost as if nothing changed.
She's like, all shall fall before me.
We really try to squeeze her into every facet of our lives.
We're reading. She really is the queen of the household here, and she has to have a sword that shows her power.
Good girl.
See, that shit's adorable. But I still think it's a degree too smart for Chip. I don't think Chip could figure that shit out on his own. Just check the chat. Nothing's happening there. Okay. So now we move on to Shad.
No! Through the guard and everything! No! That just broke through!
Let's do quests. These quests.
For those people who missed out on securing their copies of the Shadow of the Conqueror Enemies of Self graphic novel, there is a Second Chance Kickstarter campaign where you can secure your copies of not just the graphic novel but also the second edition novel. The collector edition covers are available as well as leather-bound editions. This is a very limited Second Chance campaign that we're able to squeeze in before we go to print. So make sure you secure your copies now so you don't miss out, because we are already hard at work producing the second volume of the Shadow of the Conqueror graphic novel series. Mike S. Miller, the phenomenal artist of this series, is already halfway done, producing some amazing pages for the second volume, which is going to be over 120 pages. So you'll definitely want to get your hands on volume 1, getting ready for volume 2, which is already looking absolutely amazing. Thank you to everyone who has backed us so far. This is what has made making Volume 2 as good as it will be. We are hard at work making these books the very best quality possible. The leather bounds are going to have emboss and deboss effects with foils. They're going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get you your copies. There is a link to the Kickstarter page in the description, and once again, thank you to everyone who has backed this campaign.
Greetings, I am Shad.
Greetings, I'm Nate.
And the Giant Sword project continues. In actual fact, we have something fairly cool to show you right here.
I got another one
this
to
is
add to the collection.
Look at this, the foam models of the Titan Sword. They're complete. We're not only going to test it against another foam giant sword, which Tyrant Thea has built as well, we are also going to test it against smaller regular swords.
Which is more important because usually you'd be going up against people with smaller swords.
Exactly. So to kick us off, we're going to do some giant sword versus giant sword.
Shaddy's lost weight.
And, yeah, we've cut a hole in this one. So sorry, Tyrant, but it is a little more like the Titan Sword, and I feel like I've got to use it like a spear sometimes.
Yeah.
So I wanted something.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, let's just see what we do and where we go.
So
that was interesting.
That was interesting because we got in a somewhat of a bind.
Yeah, but it
kind
slipped
of be a
past.
double, but there's no crossguard that it caught on.
No, like there is a German element for that. I'm not sure.
I have an idea. Let's see.
Sure.
Oh, I dodged it and got him in the legs. We've just switched ends. We'll keep going, and all right, maybe I'll try something different this time. So let me. What if I start like this?
Chivo points.
We're getting doubled.
We're getting doubled. So like there's a German technique that I've seen for longsword, which is slam the opponent's blade down and it actually digs into the ground. Phone bounces. That's not working. I think that was face. See if I've got a bit more leverage for counter. Double again.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Oh, the
I'm cheating because I'm only using half the blade.
There is way more bind and winding than I was expecting.
Yeah, there is. How about, as much as it is to have like one monster hunter versus another with a Titan sword, how about I grab a normal blade and I see how I fare?
Let's do it. Okay, so there are some tactics that I'm very interested in trying out fighting someone with a regular sword.
Well, I think I'm going to be literally fighting uphill, literally, as well as metaphorically, because a single sword versus that, the only thing I can think of is try to catch it in the crossguard as I'm trying to gain ground. I'm not sure how that's going to go.
Let's see, so I have two on my mind I want to try. I'll start with the first one, I won't tell you what it is.
Oh, why not?
Because you have to react to it.
Okay.
Right, ready?
No. Oh wow, that bind!
Broke the guard completely. So try it.
It's a Shisa.
Nice. Oh, nah. That's leg.
That was one.
May as well go for the. Oh, that's it. That was leg. That bounced off the sword.
Here's my wee baby.
Straight.
It's the only eye I've got.
Bottom half of my leg.
No, the guard and everything.
Nah. That just broke through.
I love that he adds sound effects because he has to.
Does that count as catching it? That's like some kung fu maneuver. Okay.
I'm happy here. This is comfortable.
Okay.
Things I noticed. One, we can actually do kind of momentum attacks.
Yes.
Even with the foam, and break the opponent's guard.
Yes.
And even get like.
So that block
where it came in there.
That is fairly strong. What I noticed though is it wasn't the LARP sword that gave out so much. It was actually my wrist. And this is foam. So my wrist just gave that little bit, just enough that the remainder of the momentum just followed through. And that is a very, very, very strong block.
So
okay, so Shad doesn't react well. That's more of a visual thing. I'll still let it run, just because I like the guy. I think he's cool.
Very significant observation. The other observation, which is the other tactic, is that going for the lower body is vastly more viable because you have the reach to do it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the hits that I landed was on the feet.
It was. Something that I did notice though was with those overhead attacks, they're not as bad because I can wait for an overhead and just go with it.
Other observation, are much slower with this, to the point where you could see every attack a mile away and you were blocking. You were blocking very easily. So I was just like, hit hard, see if I can break it, and then go for the legs. So
which worked.
We'll do a couple more exchanges, see how we go.
I feel like I want to grab a shield just to try it.
Okay.
So I might
You're
go
gonna have
and
a
grab
bad time of that.
You got a big sword, I'm grabbing a big shield. I'll be back. Okay, this is my jam. Sword and board. How do you reckon you're going to go?
That will probably stop me in my tracks, I'm expecting.
Well, see, this one is obviously LARP and it's iron rimmed. But if it wasn't iron rimmed and that was full steel,
that would dig into it.
It would just cleave through and buckle the boss. So,
okay.
We'll have to see. That's both of my legs. I blinded myself.
Because that's what I want to try and just do the spins, but it's hard to maintain them.
It is so hard to catch that when it's coming back at your legs. Missed. He took a fillet off my thigh at the same time though. I'm dead. That is too fast. That is too fast. I've seen spears move slower than that.
All right, so I've had to take off the Brigand Gambison because it is so hard to breathe in that thing.
I imagine so, and especially swinging that, like it's foam still. What I noticed, at least when using the shield, if you were trying to do anything that was like an overhead or a 45 degree, it wasn't so hard, but as soon as that thing started just swinging, you're doing that crowd control, it was a lot harder because...
Did you have trouble seeing the blade come in low? Is that one of the issues?
I did. So I was unfortunately blinding myself a little bit.
That's right.
But not to you. I was blinding to the blade and I didn't see the hand angles drop. So what I was trying to do, completely unsuccessfully, what I was trying to do was come in and bind your hands up to then get in a shot. But it just wasn't successful because you were going too low, too fast.
This is one of the big advantages of having such a long weapon, is usually to hit the legs. It's harder because they're further away from you because your arms are attached to the upper body, so when you angle down, the reach is less. But because it's so long, all it is right there.
And I mean, let's take this in reality. Let's say this is a full, now shields wouldn't be that thick, but if this was a real shield and that was a real full steel sword, and I even had the timing to put that down, I'm just gonna flip like a doll. Even if this stops the blow,
you're right.
The momentum is just gonna flip me completely upside down. I'm probably gonna land on my neck. So, trying to block that at the edge of the sword, It's not a good strategy. Coming in close and trying to block the person, maybe.
Because you did get inside the blade at one point, I noticed.
Yeah, but every time I got you, it was a double kill. Every time. So, wow. Every time? I think maybe there might have been one. Yeah, I'll try to see if I can just back off.
All right, let's see. So get in your standard measure, that would be comfortable.
Oh, my standard measure now extends to yours, because I want to be beyond, I want to eventually be here.
Yep.
But I need to start well beyond your measure.
Well, that's one of the advantages of holding it here, because perhaps you could feint people in terms of the range you actually could get. They might think,
because you're now in range.
Yeah, because you might think, oh, regular sword range, but this,
yeah, I'm well in, I'm cleaved in half.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is deceptive. It's just like,
right,
you know,
so now we go.
Here, just, I first want to see if I can actually catch you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Ready?
Yep.
Ah, you got popped.
That was beautiful. I tried to like come up. I didn't have the speed. Bounced and then into the face. That was gorgeous. I would have had maybe a cleft like that into the side of my face. So it was beautiful.
What we are seeing here, it's much harder to move backwards than run forward. And I can easily outspeed him. But in earnest, try and get away. Let's see. Ready?
Yeah.
Just...
Got him! It worked!
It worked! Make him laugh and then just kill him.
Okay, new strategy.
You've upgraded.
I've upgraded. I need to cover my legs. So, covering legs with a Viking shield or a round shield is a little hard because you've got to go low, which means I can no longer go forward as much.
I was almost going to say, well, this is just now unfair, but then again, I have been like, you know.
Yeah, unfair. Unfair.
So I'm wondering if this either evens it out or puts the advantage in your corner because it's a tower shield.
It's a tower shield, so it's a lot to cover. Though it will make me move slower. I can't cover my head with the shield anywhere near as much. We'll just have to see how it goes, I suppose.
We'll find out. I can't predict. I can't predict what'll happen. Oh, you got me.
Yeah, that one didn't work.
I stopped covering my legs.
So, my strategy then, aim high, get him to raise the shield, go low.
And it exactly worked. So I can do a solid block, but like that would ruin the shield.
Yeah, what would happen to the shield, right?
Exactly. Especially, so one of the problems I was having before was once Shad got a wind up. So, let's see if I can close. I'll let you wind a bit. I'll see if I can close. Yeah, nah. So that would have, the amount of momentum would have smashed into that shield, and even then there was a bounce, maybe you didn't see it, but there was a bounce where the sword come up and got me on the back. So even though I got you, I'm not sure who would have survived that. My shield definitely wouldn't have.
Okay, so Nate is going to give it a go with the giant sword.
Yeah.
I have a different larp sword. This one is a custom made from Kalamazoo.
Oh, nice.
It has the Kingdom Come Deliverance handle, but with a much longer blade with a big ricasso on it.
So it's got a little bit more
reach.
Okay.
It might make the exchange a little bit more even with a bit more reach. We'll see though.
We'll see how we go. I've never really swung this for combat.
One of the techniques I found when testing with the wooden ones is shoulder leverage. Like really leverage it in and off the arm.
Oh, like on your bounces to get that.
Exactly.
Okay.
To get leverage and everything. Because that's the style that I found worked with.
I'm curious how Patty's going to do.
I don't know how to defend this. All right, I think. But man, there'll be I wouldn't be able to knock it aside. It'll be too big. All right. See, I tried to knock it aside and
knocked it into his fucking leg.
What I was trying to do was push it to the side there to get inside. But there was too much mass. There was too much mass. I did knock it aside and I just ran into it.
Basically, you just have to stab forward and it's a automatic speed bump.
I'm amazed that the mass difference is still having a very kind of functional parallel to what heavy ones would be like, even with foam. Because more mass, less mass, can't knock it aside.
I'll try what you tried on me, just straight down, see how you go.
Oh, fine.
Okay.
Again, I tried to block it, just straight through. Straight through. All right, I need to put more authority into the deflection. Sorry, go.
I was finding to angle with it and run in the opposite direction as much as you've got to beat the speed of the tip. But
yeah, all right.
So, maybe. There was a cut across my shin.
The range.
At least they're having fun. That's the important
It's hard
thing.
to close the distance.
I'd love to do
Obviously,
shit
it's
like
just a
that.
big
That'd be fun
spear
as
at the
hell.
moment.
A spear that can cut on its whole range. Yeah. Because usually, in a real, like, if I was a spear, those strikes where you got the sword here, so if you put it here, if you get in here on a spear, you're fine. You're fine.
You're beyond the threat range. But here,
you're dead.
Yeah.
It's like a spear, but times 100.
It's good.
It changes the game completely. There are so many kind of binds and exchanges and winding when you push the sword to a position, and usually when you're facing another sort of comparable size or long sword, that's out of range for you to follow up. But every time I was doing that, I wasn't out of range.
No,
and you were just
and not only
nailing
that,
me.
because I had that extra range, like you were bound with the sword, but all I had to do, not that we actually got to this point, but I was thinking ahead, all I had to do was raise.
Yeah.
And then come in for
Well,
a
like,
back or
for instance,
something.
that one, when I push to the side here, there's multiple things you do, but one of the things is try and get underneath like that. But because the sword's so long, I go there and I can't get underneath. And so we'll do it again. So there, trying to get underneath, I get caught on it, and you still got the block.
Yeah, because you've got
then,
so much
exactly.
range on.
And then if I withdraw completely to get on the other side,
See, personally, I've always been a fan of the super long bats, like the Tetsubo or the Kanabo. I'd rather a Tetsubo simply because they're made out of fucking lead or iron, which means they're stupidly heavy, so you get all that momentum just whoosh right through. They're used for fucking taking out horses and shit. I mean, these things swing like trucks. But so far I have yet to get one. I really want one just because swinging it around as an arm and back and shoulder, it's a whole fucking upper body workout. It's a lower body workout if you move around with it too. And that's kind of my goal someday, is to have a whole bunch of super heavy swinging sticks.
the sword's already there to do a draw cut, massive gash. So
it's actually like it goes well. I can't do anything close because I can't reach the tip of the sword. But it's almost, I wouldn't want it any longer than that, but that's almost functional for hand-to-hand grappling. Not quite, but it's a good range. It's a very, very good range.
And we know that in real life, like an actual giant sword would be crazy heavy, but we're kind of assuming you have the super strength to do it, or the sword is made out of a super material to make it lighter.
Or both.
Which, to equivocate your functionality that you have with it. And as a result, we're finding that there are crazy advantages. Like, this thing is hard to fight.
Like we just found out before, like you go to swat the thing down, and I just brace into it and then draw it across.
And so many swats to strike it, like, bang! It's so hard to knock aside. I'll try and do full strength.
Sure,
to try and knock aside.
I won't swing against. I'll just hold it.
Like that regular sword would have knocked it completely.
Yep.
And these are foam.
Oh, you put a dint in it.
I did. Exactly. Look, I even dinted the thing, and it's like. So, I like this. This nullifies so many tactics to try and knock aside the sword and get in advantage.
I think I might, for the next little test, because like I said, there's a thing with swords, we won't get into it now, where you actually want to be able to grab the tip so you can get close and grapple. But the other one that I cut into, because I cut the hole in the middle, I may be able to do some of that. So I want to try a bit more close range, because we've gone through big winds, we've gone through static stops. There's a couple of things yet to test, so we'll go grab that.
Awesome.
Okay.
This is all right.
So the tip is a little worse on this one, but nice. Nice. That did take a nick out of my arm.
I saw that arm is further forward, and so if I could just get.
Yep. But I will say, normally when we've done fighting before, those shots are a lot more solid. You've got so much more range that it's just nicking. Like, it's still enough.
And this is equivalent of a war sword, like, and so this is a longer, almost on the longest end before you get to great sword, really.
Oh, shield. Let's see how that works. Yeah, I can see you aiming at my head.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Oh, nice. That was solid enough.
Yep.
All right, so holding it here.
Presenting that puts it in range with something this long.
Yeah.
They're like fucking 10-year-olds. I love it.
But, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, maybe so.
I'll have to watch those guys off stream because, it doesn't work.
This might be better if you close in a lot of range and I need the bottom end. So I think I'm going to stick with this one a little bit, even though the sword is a bit floppier. I want to try to transition. I don't think I'm going to succeed, but I want to try to transition a little bit. Though just holding it there to start, I'm losing most advantage that I already have. Like my arm is out, so or my hand is exposed.
Yep.
Not that you tried to aim for that.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. So we'll try.
If I see a small advantage, I'm going for it.
All right, I'll see if I can transition to it if I need to. Otherwise, we'll just do what we were doing
already. I already feel this is more difficult. Like the range to get close is just like.
Now, something with that. I could hold that grip the whole way around. You notice I was holding pressure on you the whole way around. So even though I think you cut the back of my breeches, even though Chad did do an attack at the end, I could, because of the range of this and the fact that there's so much surface area to go on, I was holding that pressure the whole way and not even thinking about it.
Central. Oh, east.
That was across the belly.
Yeah.
Okay. I did cop a hit to the arm. I will give that. Try to use it like a bat. No, I'm not going to try to use it like a bat.
See the range.
Straight across the forearm.
Right in the hand. I see it. That was me wondering, can I close the distance before he strikes? No.
All right. So this center grip, I think, is good for recovery.
Yes.
But to try to use it, even so, it's not really a transitional grip. It's not like, the blade of a sword where you can grab anywhere. You've got to find this, and to find that, you'd have to be really well trained in it. So I think maintaining this most of the time, maintaining a normal grip, is better than what I was trying.
So I came into this pretty blank slate. We've theory crafted about giant swords and that. Okay, there are ways to fight with it if you had the appropriate strength, but in terms of how effective would they be in combat, I had no point of reference.
No, and I have to say I did have a bit of a bias coming into this. I sort of looked at this and thought, okay, it's going to be like a spear or a two-handed axe. Obviously, it's going to have more weight. But I've fought spears and I've fought two-handed axes and I'm comfortable fighting them and I know how to defeat them in a good percentage of the time. This is harder. This is just harder for a multitude of reasons.
And honestly, it performed better. Like I came into a blank, but I was thinking I didn't have a bias. Would it be better? Would it be worse? I was just thinking maybe even, equal. But it performed way better than that blank slate. It was way more effective. I'm surprised at how effective it was. Specifically, when we were able to switch it up, because when I was using it, I was thinking, all right, am I just getting lucky? We'll see. But when you got it, you dominated. I was dominating when I had it. When you had it, you dominated. And it goes straight to the strengths of the weapon that would happen.
It's so hard to get past that much blade. It's like, so one of the things, as you mentioned before, getting past the spear, which has similar range to this, getting past the spear,
God damn, it kills me.
End,
it kills me how fast I can get tipsy. I can already feel it, and I've only drunk this much. I don't know if this is showing up on the camera or not. But yeah, not that much. So, this is gonna be an experience.
You're fine, but with this, like, you can just keep chopping.
And especially if they're pressed against the blade, all you do is draw cut, and that would be such a devastating gash.
Yeah.
It's like...
Absolutely. And then
Julian
just even if we started talking about the techniques,
I didn't see how much you started with, but I know what this glass holds.
Even on LARP blades.
Yes!
It started about...
It performed well in different techniques.
Up here...
Very powerful hits,
with
as well
the
as
ice.
even trying to wind and bind and
the
get
ice
it
is
in.
long since melted.
Even static, I'm just gonna
so I don't know if this is showing up. I'm not wavering, I'm just trying to get it in camera.
Like, just trying to get past that and trying to get the right timing. As you saw, you just change up a little bit or bounce
It's
off
pretty
your
much
shoulder,
full.
and it's faster than you expect.
And that spinning thing wasn't necessarily fast, but you know that it's coming in after. And so even when you try and time it, it can still now, because the momentum and everything.
And like we talked about, even if you could block it with a shield, you'd be flipped.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
And also, it is not easy to predict. And so, wow, way more effective than I was thinking.
Although, something that we've only got to do so far is foam.
Yes.
So maybe we change it up a bit and we do a bit of strength testing with...
Yes.
We see if this can power through some shots. It doesn't have a lot of weight.
We'll get the wood ones. We'll be safe.
Okay.
And we'll see if you can actually try and block.
I'm going to do this without the mask, and the reason being is because Tyrant is going to aim off to my side. So I'm just holding this out for leverage. See if he can get it.
On this side?
Yep. Not really.
I wasn't even doing anything.
No, you can see the body language, like I'm trying to put something into it. Tyrant is just kind of doing this. Oh, instantly. Let's try the other side. I mean, on the plus side, if he does that and overcommits, no, never mind, he's probably going to get me. Probably going to get me anyway.
I know you're trying to be tricky there.
No, but you're showing exactly what this
I'm not
does.
gonna let you do
You're
that.
down.
I still
but
say the
that's fine. You have
Tetsubo would
so
be
much
better.
length.
Just
You
a
just bring
big
it up
iron
into another
rod
shot.
Yeah, and it becomes a shield.
with a little bit of weight
I
on
think
the
we've
end.
kind of figured out that these things are a bit more effective than what you would expect.
Vastly so. If you had the super strength to be able to spin it, and I'm thinking like up to super strength, before the torque gets too high, you could push it to 20 kilos on the sword, maybe even to 30, and then that means you still have enough weight in your own person to ground yourself and you wouldn't get pulled off when you swing it.
You need Herculean strength.
Just give me a second.
Oh yeah.
I did want to talk about the Titan sword, because I think a lot of people, there were some people that missed the point of the Titan sword. A lot of people said, why don't we make it out of steel? Why don't we make it out of a whole bunch of materials? And the whole point of the Titan sword is that we can actually wield this effectively.
We don't have super strength.
Exactly. We want it to be able to be lightweight and maneuverable at the same time.
Actually, that brings up a really good point, because this, like, once it's swinging, it's moving, it's just going in the same direction. But that is a closer analogy, no.
Analog.
Analog, thank you. I know words. Closer.
I know words.
To the foam ones that we were using before, which we were getting good maneuverability out.
Yeah, and on top of that, if we made that out of steel.
Besides, and I still want a Tetsubo at some point, or yeah, a Tetsubo. That Tetsubo is made out of iron. I still have my great idea of swinging the big heavy rod with a shit ton of momentum and using that as strength training. That thing should be heavy as fuck.
Right? It would be equivalent, closer to weight to that, or just a little bit higher.
Julia _Sarah, and I still want to get you one.
Because then we can
But we'll
kind of
start with the
transpose.
Yeah, the Kanabo will be cheaper.
We can still get an idea of the functional range.
The Kanabo's like $400 fucking dollars.
We even had the Titan sword, and it was made out of steel, but we had the super strength to use it easier.
Someday I'm gonna have a whole fucking.
How it was using the.
Someday I'm gonna have a whole fucking wall full of these gigantic swinging bats / rods, and I will use them to get yoked as fuck. I guess. Honestly, it's just really relaxing to swing those fuckers around, you know. Because half of the issue is taken care of with the momentum of the thing. You start swinging it, and all of a sudden you're not really using your muscles as much to go as you are to not fall over. And I mean, it's just the sheer amount of muscles that you are using to keep yourself erect, to keep yourself from falling over, to keep the weapon from flying out of your hands. It's a really comprehensive workout.
The foam ones.
I mean, look at them. They're winded as fuck, and they're just using wood.
It's a good design.
Thank you.
First off, this bit here isn't going to be sharpened, so we can use our weight to put it in. Also, we have all grips along here.
Yep.
But what I've found will be the most important feature is these holes here. While they can be used like this, they also make it more aerodynamic.
They do.
And it doesn't catch as a wind sail. So I can move this around, and this is no problem. That's why I wanted to clarify, because some people didn't understand. They thought, well, why not make it out of steel? Why not make it out of all these other materials? That's why.
Which makes sense at first thought.
It does make sense.
Yeah, these tests are trying to figure out how usable would a giant sword be in multiple different circumstances, if it was light enough to use, or if you had the super strength to use, multiple things. And but we're still getting a lot of really important feedback, and the conclusions I'm finding, even in a lot of these different scenarios, like even if you went something like that, and it would be like 20, 30 kilos, but you have the super strength to use it, wow, would it be still functional.
Still effective, especially seeing is like you need, once you have that strength, then you can do that bouncing around, that moving and a little bit of flipping, and you can fight wind resistance. Us, maybe not,
yeah. But then even if we went to lighter, wow, it's still functional. Because like the foam wasn't heavy, yet it had enough mass to compare against a weapon that had lower mass, but it was made out of the same material, foam. Yep. And we got the same advantages in the weight comparison.
It did, surprisingly.
It worked. And
we should get foam swords and fuck around with them. We should have little sword fights. It'd be fun. If we had like fucking house issues, you work them out with sword fights. And instead of a sword, you'd get me a bat. Just a big foam bat.
Because it was hard to knock the big swords off point because the masses were just so vastly different. Like I'm shocked. I'm really impressed. Giant swords are friggin' awesome. When we're able to make the carbon fiber version, right? Wow, that'll be like a serious, legitimate weapon. Like one that should not be discounted as just a gag, because we've managed to get a surprising level of functional utility in combat tests with it. And if we can make one that's usable in a usable weight range.
Well, I had a lot of, when I first read about this, that was going to be made into carbon fiber, I was a little cautious, but I've been cautious through every step of this, and it's worked through every step regardless of my caution. So I may be turning towards hopeful for a carbon fiber blade.
And we are still moving forward with that. Look, it's a long process because it's complicated. We have to get tools and additional things, but we have started to, because we need to make small test versions first. And Tyrant, do you have something to show us?
I do. But before I do, I thought we should explain. Because it has been a while since our last Titan Sword update. And the reason why is basically the first steps are the most difficult ones. And we needed to make sure that we could actually make quality, that's the important part there, quality carbon fiber sheets. And we can.
We can. Look at this. This is a quality, solid.
Oh, hold it.
Carbon fiber sheet.
This
like
is
that
no
is
joke.
solid.
This is no. The thing that's breaking is the flashing.
Yeah.
I got to take the flashing off. But this is a quality sheet, and if we're able to replicate this, the Titan Sword is very, very close in the future.
Like, this is exciting.
There's this one, and then there's one more, and then the one after that. If everything goes, if all stars are aligned, it's the Titan Sword.
There's a couple of preliminary build-up videos before we get to the full-size one, because we need to make some tests, and so there's going to be like an in-between video.
I demand a test.
Where we're going to make a carbon fiber short sword out of this sheet, okay?
I need to type something to the house chat. I was watching Adversity and his friends fuck around with gigantic foam swords. We should get weapons and have a fuck about that back. Relieve stress and shit. Maybe wrap the back porch post in foam or a punching post. Just an idle thought.
To see how well the blade, the strip of metal, can connect to it, how durable it is. It's going to be a great video, and hopefully we're going to find out how functional it is, and we can build up to the full-size Titan Sword. Look how stiff this is. This is like, what, a mil thick?
No, it's a bit thicker.
It's a bit thicker?
The flashing here is a little bit hard to gauge, but it's about, I'd probably say about 1.5, nearly 2 millimeters.
Yeah. That's not much at all.
That's not much at all.
That's
well, what was
fraction of a fraction of an inch.
what's important about that is, again, it was testing. So we wanted to see how many layers it would take. This is, I think, 9 layers of carbon fibers. So 9 layers gives us, after we cut off the flashing, it should be around 1.5, 2 millimeters. That's a good gauge, because then now we can actually add.
See, that's 1.5. I don't think that's 2, because that's so thin.
I don't know. I haven't measured it.
Let me use my 1.5.
We'll see about that.
But show them how stiff it is.
Oh yeah, this is no joke.
This is, like, that is stiff.
And depending on what we're hitting, it's not like we're going to be hitting.
You know, you can tell I'm an old fart on the internet, because when I hear Shad and I hear him talking about stiff things, I think it's something completely different than what they're talking about.
The Titan sword against other swords, maybe, maybe. But for the first rounds of testing, we are just going to be doing like bottles of water. Other things that swords we would do in like a review.
Yeah, meat.
And carbon fiber for that, it'll survive that.
Yes.
It's usually just when we hit it against another solid object.
So there's exciting stuff that we are still working on. The Giant Sword project is all steam ahead. We need to work through difficult things, and we need to get a sanding belt and other things. There's things to get. We even had to readjust the entire workshop to be able to get room to do it. Yes.
Carbon fiber.
Something to mention we haven't actually spoken about is weather. Resin requires heat. Like a nice day like this. This is a nice day to do resin. Winter's coming up for us.
Yes.
Yeah, flipped seasons to a lot of you guys.
Yeah, and resin requires a certain temperature to harden. So we may have to go a little bit faster than originally planned at some point.
It might be faster or it might be longer, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're committed. So very exciting stuff. Thank you to everyone who's joined us here on this video. I hope to see you on the future videos. And until that time, farewell.
Shadow of the Conqueror is the breakout debut novel by Shad M. Brooks.
Truly incredible.
This video is brought to you by Atlas VPN.
So Metatron. Medieval Europe was peaceful, diverse, and wasn't white.
Okay, here I am on cracked.com. What happens if I...
Oh, God in heaven.
Medieval on the search engine. Search. Oh my God.
I know
What
of...
have I done?
So, I know of Metatron. I've never actually seen any of his videos. So, I don't know what to expect here.
Hey, noble ones, welcome back to my channel.
I think he's a
Metatron
historian.
Speaking, and today we are here back with more articles because, as I said in my previous iteration, this is episode 3 now, I never learn, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I also do this because I find it fun, I enjoy it, I might need professional help. Okay, so we are back on Cracked, which is this website where I found quite a lot of articles that were telling us and sort of debunking myths about ancient Rome, about ancient Greece, and you can already find lots of like thumbnails and links in the description to the way I addressed these articles that oftentimes, rather than the debunking myths, they are in fact spreading their own, to the point that the myths that they're talking about oftentimes are actually not myths at all.
So today I had this idea.
I know, what can I say, I make too much pasta. Today I had this idea. What happens if I literally go into Cracked and type medieval in the search engine, and here we are, Pandora's box. And these are not old articles, 2022, 2019, 2022, 2022 again. This is just a trend. It means they're getting views. Let's push out as many articles as we can on the medieval period. I mean, I spent all morning reading this. I mean, let me tell you, it was fun, but I do need a drink. There are some articles that say stuff that's completely out there, and then you'll see, but other articles, they tell you quite a few correct things that you can see that the person who is writing, they probably watched the Community of the Sword, because I see that they're repeating verbatim stuff said by me, Shad, Matt Easton, Scalagrim, Lindy.
Ah, that explains why I got recommended one of his videos. It came off from Shad. And also I'm familiar with Scalagrim, I like him too.
Page, which suggests that they don't really do their own research, which sometimes can be problematic because some of the stuff they say is correct, but then it's followed by what I think is their own interpretation of something that they are pushing that is then incorrect. Let me show you. Let's just jump right in. The first article I'd like to briefly look at is the article called 5 Realities of Medieval Warfare Hollywood Refuses to Learn. The issue I take is with the following point. point number 4 is titled Seriously, You're Not Stabbing Through Armor. That's a great start, right? Well, here is the problem. He says, far from the ease with which movie warriors can cleave through an enemy, medieval armor was actually pretty much impervious to medieval weaponry. Good point. That shouldn't be that surprising though. The entire point of armor is to protect the wearer from the kinds of things they'd encounter out in the world. It is the predominant weapons of the day. So far, so good, right? Because usually we had the opposite problem when people say that armor, doesn't work. So that's great. However, wait for it. If someone's coming at you with a sword, you wear sword-proof clothing. Duh. I hate the way they write these. It's not that soldiers gave up plate armor randomly or because the fashion changed. They did it because cannons started exploding the hell out of them, metal, codpieces and all. And that's where I have a problem. Before gunpowder ruined everything, armored knights and men-at-arms were basically walking colossuses. And then they go on saying that armor wasn't that heavy, you can move, and that's all correct. The only problem is, I don't know how many times I have to say this, gunpowder and firearms, the invention of firearms, did not cancel out armor. So as you can see, they are removing some myths by replacing them with another myth. And this is not the only article saying this. Check this out. On the article 18 Medieval Myths You Believe Because of Movies, they bring up a similar point on point number 4. Myth, you can just slice through plate armor, it's fine. What's the point of wearing armor if a dude is going to slice right through it? With a sword or puncture it with an arrow? Well, it makes for a great action scene, but no one would bother wearing armor in real life if it was as ineffective as it appears in film. And again, I very much agree with this. In fact, I think they're just repeating stuff that they heard. I'm not saying from me, but from someone in the community of the swords, the bias cap wool, what have you. Real armor was above all practical and did in fact protect the people inside, at least until the invention of firearms. Why do I say that this is replacing a myth with another myth?
So, I'm gonna open the window, it's a little warm, and I'm also gonna change my shirt. So the thing about firearms is it depends on the caliber of the fucking firearm. It depends on, like, if you fire a musket. If you fire a musket at the point at the armor where it's double plated, of course it's not gonna fucking go through. Or if it does, it's not gonna go through very well. But a cannon, obviously, will absolutely annihilate anything that's standing in front of it. But the thing about early firearms, arquebuses and muskets and shit like that, is that they took an unholy amount of time to reload. So, obviously, armor just isn't going to go away, because when you're reloading, you obviously need people to protect you, or you need to protect yourself. So that's my guess of what he's going to say, and yeah, I'm proper tipsy.
Yulia_Sura, let us not forget, honey, even the pirate could only win when he fired his musket into the knight's open visor.
Yeah, right? Oh, I mean, yeah, you want to talk about an ineffective weapon against armor, you fucking blunderbuss. Anything unarmored is getting fucked, but anything with armor, yeah, it's just going to bounce right off, because the individual pellets they don't have enough mass behind them to puncture the armor properly, let alone the skin.
Have a plethora of evidence that early firearms and full plate armor coexisted in the medieval period. I don't think people realize how early gunpowder started to be used. Already in the late 14th century, in the early 15th century, the first one-shot pistols and the first types of firearms were already used. As you continue into the 15th century, into the 16th century, firearms of course develop, but armor is not abandoned. If anything, smiths even tried to make it thicker. And one thing that is interesting is that as you read medieval treatises, you'll notice that people that are using these sort of early types of firearm are advised to shoot a point blank where they are shooting at someone in full plate armor. Why? Because otherwise the armor will protect them. To the point that even early cuirassiers...
Yeah, that's an important point. Fucking drop off. The further away you are from a fired gun, I mean, not nowadays, but back in the day before they had propulsion properly mapped out, the speed would drop at such a point that the damn musket ball would just plink right off.
And other types of full-plate knights that were also using firearms were advised to literally touch your opponent's helmet and even cuirass with your firearms before discharging.
Thus proving what you were saying, Hun, about when Deadliest Warrior did it in with the Pirate versus the Knight.
So this idea that the
But still, that proves my point. Way back when I said that the pirates' guns wouldn't be as effective against the Knight because of the armor. So yeah.
moment firearms entered the medieval equation, they started shooting at knights, and knights in full plate armor started falling like flies, is wrong. Of course, eventually,
fake
as
news.
centuries and centuries go by, the
You are fake news.
firearms continues to a point whereby the medieval type of full plate armor just doesn't work anymore. But then again, cuirassiers will keep at least a cuirass for a very long time and way into cannon warfare, if you want to call it that way. Not necessarily because they thought that they could be protected from cannons, but because it could protect them from many other types of weapons that could still harm you, and your armor would still work very well. I'll give you the reference in the description. This is a very famous piece of iconography that even shows how to early cuirassiers in full plate armor, whom have probably lost their horses, their mounts during the battle, are going at each other with early firearms, and they are still wearing full plate armor. So no, firearms did not cancel out armor. And if you allow me to be a slightly bit more pedantic about this, then we should say that firearms, even today, didn't cancel out armor. We still use armor.
Yeah.
It just has evolved. I mean, Kevlar, plate carriers, all of that is armor. And if you want to argue and say, yeah, but that's not metal armor, I understand. But what about titanium plating on tanks and warplanes? Armor was never removed from the equation.
It just evolved, like everything else.
Of firearms. It just evolved, as it always has.
Yeah.
Now, if you're like me and you like surfing the internet looking for...
Bro, you do not look right in a hoodie. Fade me with that bullshit.
But obviously, lots of things were going on worldwide. Okay, your point being... I mean, if I decide if I choose as a filmmaker to set a movie in medieval Europe, that doesn't mean that I don't think that anything else is happening in the world. So I understand all these... Oh my gosh. This time period included the fascinating Heian period in Japan and the Islamic Golden Age in the Middle East and North Africa. It was also when the African empires of Mali and Benin got their start. Great. All of this is completely relevant.
Cool, don't care, yeah.
A movie in medieval Europe.
Yeah, that's right. The only time that shit should matter is if you're going to those countries. If it's Europe, you have Europeans, generally white. Depending on if it's Eastern Europeans, you might get some Asian blood in there.
Guess what? That movie is going to talk about medieval Europe, which would become some of the richest kingdoms in the world, holding records to this very day. And that's fantastic for a movie set in that period.
Yeah.
So if this was a way to say too many movies have been set in the medieval period.
Okay, this guy has said enough that I'm going to subscribe. Where's that button?
In Europe, we should set them in the Heian period in Japan or in whatever period in Africa. I have nothing against that, but that doesn't mean that, as they try to put it, it was only in Europe. Yes, when you say the Middle Ages, usually it's incorrect to refer to the Heian period as the Middle Ages in Japan. No one does it. People don't do it. It's not the way historians call it. Usually when you say the Middle Ages, you're talking about European history. Of course, that doesn't mean that nothing has happened around the world, whether it was for the Islamic Golden Age or any other country. That I think people understand that. But anyways, let's continue. I don't want to get... I'm starting to get like, yeah, I'm going to need a drink very soon. In the Americas, the Inca's empire was getting started and the Maya had been established for nearly 1,000 years. In what will become New Mexico, yeah, okay. I'm going to apply the same logic you're using to you. The writer of this article is going out of his way to try and say, oh look, they always, when you talk about medieval period, the medieval period, you always talk about Europe, but you should talk about Africa, and you should talk about the Middle East, and you should talk about Japan and South America. Well, let me ask you, why did you not mention Indonesia? What was Indonesia doing in the 1300s? Why did you not mention India? What about China? Are you excluding all of these people? Are you being racist towards these people? I'm applying the exact same logic you're applying to the term medieval to what you are doing. You didn't include everyone. Here is where this is really going. Even in Europe, it would not be uncommon to see different people from different places, especially in the larger cities.
Bullshit.
As trade routes expanded and travel became easier. Actual art from the period itself also reflects its diversity. And this is what this is about. Just like the video I made Ancient Rome was a very diverse and multicultural and multi-ethnic place. We're trying to do it the same thing with medieval Europe. It's not the only article that tries to do this, but what's funny, let me show you, is as you can see, reflects its diversity is clickable. So let's try and click it. Let's see what it says. Oops, that page does not seem to exist. Go figure. Let me show you from another article. Hollywood myths cracked 4 things movies get wrong about medieval times. Here's another article, very similar in the way it's organized, peppering occasional correct information and then going for what they're really trying to say. So they say things like medieval folks weren't dirty all the time, which was, of course, the idea that everyone in Middle Ages was dirty is incorrect and it has been debunked. So they're right about that. Point number 1, medieval Europe was way more diverse. There has been a lot of renewed
fucking diversity.
The Lord of the Rings of Power series featuring a more diverse cast than the original movies ever did.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it since I'm kind of tipsy. The world is not diverse. The world is diverse in a sense of the world, but individual places are not diverse. That is a new thing. That is a thing that has happened, you know, the melting pot society, all that shit. The world as it used to be was not diverse. Europeans stayed in Europe. Africans stayed in Africa. You had outliers, sure, but it sure wasn't fucking common. I hate this fucking rewriting of history, and I know. The victors of war rewrote history all the time, and I hated it then, and I hate it now. There is no such thing as objective truth anymore when it comes to history, and that pisses me the fuck off. Everybody's got a fucking agenda. I just want to know what actually happened. I don't want bias. And unfortunately, we humans are biased creatures, so it's like, meta, you're not telling me anything I don't know, buddy.
And as it should, because medieval Europe... Excuse me a second. You're talking about the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is not set in medieval Europe. The Lord of the Rings is set in Middle-earth. Spoiler alert, Middle-earth does not exist. Given, obviously, Tolkien took a lot of inspiration from the European Middle Ages, as basically every fantasy that is a fairly sort of medieval looks to it did, like D&D, what have you, The Witcher. I mean, they all clearly stem from this idea of a romanticized fantasy rendition of a kingdom that appears to be clearly based in medieval European architecture, style, armor, weapons, and everything else. Bringing up the Lord of the Rings as a representation of medieval Europe
just makes you look stupid.
Now, I will make a dedicated
Yulia
video on
Sura.
Tolkien
The man speaks
and
blasphemy.
his views. Today, I don't want to do this. I just want to underline this connection that he's saying medieval Europe was a melting pot of race and
no, it fucking wasn't.
In connection with, so should the Lord of the Rings be, even though, again, Lord of the Rings is not set in medieval Europe. What they are saying is the usual stuff. Check this out. The Rings of Power series featuring a more diverse cast than the original movies ever did, as it should, because medieval Europe was a melting pot of race diversity. Racial slavery
wasn't
yet. Oh my gosh, racial slavery wasn't a thing. And yet people were living together in close communities as peacefully as they possibly could. I really don't understand what these article writers, what these politically charged and motivated speakers are trying to do.
You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to rewrite history. You're just too chicken shit to say it because you don't want to lose subscribers. I know exactly why they're doing it. And I am ashamed of you, Italian man.
Don't get it. Because trying to remove things that actually happened in the past and the way POC were mistreated over the years and over the centuries.
Yes, that's another good point. When they did come in, either they were seen as these fucking demigods, or more likely they were mistreated because they were different, because everyone is scared of the different. That is a human biological imperative. It's something that we should work past, obviously, but it's still, that doesn't make it not true.
And trying to put them in a position where, oh no, it never happened. And don't you ever say the word slavery in connection with a person of color. That's racist. And don't you dare say that they went through all of these things. No, you need to pretend that everyone loved each other. People didn't even see race.
Pretend. Pretend. That's what it is. They're all playing pretend. And it's fucking stupid. That's not what the real world is. And boy, am I tipsy. I will cut my scotch with coffee. That'll help. Okay, I need to lay off this for a minute. Go over there.
I need to read it again. They were all living together in close communities as peacefully as they possibly could, and medieval Europe was a melting pot. No. Medieval Europe was mostly white. Yes, there were people of color. And yes, you will see representations of that. You even have a guy in full plate armor who is clearly black. These are exotic people.
Yes!
The original inhabitants of Europe, which were light-skinned. Trying to change the queens and kings of medieval Europe and making them black because you want to right a wrong, I guess.
Like, that's fucking insulting is what it is. If I were black, I'd be fucking insulted. What about all the culture that we have, if I were black, in Africa? I mean, trying to shoehorn black people into Europe is basically shitting all over their culture in Africa, right? I mean, am I wrong? That's what I think. If I'm wrong, though, God, tell me, for Christ's sake.
Because of all the things that people of color had to endure, is not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to tell the story how it was. Don't try and force an over-exaggerated diversity and saying that Europe was a melting pot, so you would have seen as many black people as white people,
you are not wrong, but people today are dumb.
I guess, as Asians,
oh, people in our day was dumb too.
At the same exact amount, I know that they didn't say this, but understand where I'm coming from. This isn't the right way to do it. Later on says this, however, doesn't mean that there wasn't any racism going on back then, which is interesting because it just said racial slavery wasn't a thing. So kind of two things don't really connect well in my mind. In fact, it would seem that some writers of the time set a tone and discourse that would eventually lead to dehumanizing, justification, enslavement, blah blah blah. The point is that Europe wasn't all white in medieval times, and the belief that it was has been causing trouble for more than a century. Europe was overwhelmingly white. This is an incorrect notion that they're clearly trying to push. Scholars officially picked up, I love it and they never say the names of these scholars, officially picked up a link between modern white supremacy and the false idea that everyone in Europe was white during the Middle Ages. No one says that everyone was white. Of course you had people traveling, of course you had thralls, of course you had prisoners of war, of course you had merchants, of course you had traders, you had all sorts. But yes, it was overwhelmingly white. I don't think anyone with a clear brain would say that there was the only people that existed in Europe were 100% white people, or white Europeans. From the article, 6 ridiculous myths about the Middle Ages everyone believes. Well, let's see, because I suppose I should believe it too. When you think of the Middle Ages, chances are you picture gallant knights sitting astride brilliant destriers, galloping through a sea of plagues, ignorance and filth. And you can hardly be blamed for that when everyone from the movies you watched to your high school history teacher, who was mainly the football coach, oh gosh, has told you so. Well, great. Let's see the reality. Let's look at point number 4. It's always point number 4 for some reason. One of the reasons mathematical reasons. Knights were honorable, chivalrous warriors. The myth. Knights were gallant and brave warriors charging into battle to slay the dragon, seriously, and rescue the fair maiden. I don't think anyone believed... Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think that... I find it funny how they depict the people who believe said myths in the stupidest way possible. Like, this is how stupid people are. They believe that the dragons were around. The reality. Knights often had less in common with this. I don't actually see anything wrong with that. It's a duel for a girl. It happened. Absolutely happened. And more in common with this. For some reasons there is a gang of youngsters. Remember, knights were professional warriors. Well, first and foremost, I think the way he's using knights is not exactly correct. Men-at-arms were professional warriors. Knights were mounted nobility. So, were they professional warriors? Well, they were definitely professional at what they were doing, but they weren't doing it for the money. If you say knight, it means that...
No, they were nobles, yeah!
...of knightship. And again, I know this is a little pedantic, but I'm not really saying it to necessarily attack this person's writing. It's just a little bit of an explanation, because I think that this person doesn't exactly understand how to use the term knight correctly. Someone who is a knight is someone who has been titled. So someone who's been titled is not really doing it for a profession, it's doing it for a lot of other reasons. Knights will do it for scutage, which is basically like a necessary tax that you need to pay to the king. You either pay the tax or go to war. If you don't want to go to war, which is a duty, then you can pay money. But a knight is much more than a professional warrior. It's also a professional warrior in the sense that he's professional in the way he's doing it, and that's what he does, but that's not the only thing a knight does. A knight will do many other things. So that was just a little clarification that I wanted to slip in there. A man-at-arm will be a better definition of a professional warrior depending on the period and the country.
What?
Because they fight in the manner of the knight, but they're not necessarily titled. Remember, knights were professional warriors, and when there wasn't a war to fight, they had to find something to do with their war bonus. Most of these guys were relatively young and didn't have Call of Duty to satisfy their violent urges, so they tended to take it out on the local population. Towards 11th century, and at already 11th century is very early, it's like really the beginning of the concept of knight the way we understand it.
That's more fucking 14th, 15th century.
Many of the local lords started bickering over who would get a slice of the Holy Roman pie that Charlemagne baked. And the knights were at the forefront of these petty wars. It's interesting they call them petty wars. This seems to me a little bit of presentism right there. Their wars are petty. Our wars are fine. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it wouldn't
no, you're not.
The kind of stuff that I've seen already. Presentism is definitely part of this. These wars were less Braveheart-style epic battles and more knights rolling up into villages and slaughtering everybody, but wars with full-on battlefields, country versus country, existed. The medieval period was full of full-on wars, not all wars were like just go around and burn villages. Here is another one. The article is called Prima Nocta, the weird medieval marriage law that didn't exist. So I appreciate that already put in the title that it didn't exist, because in fact it didn't exist. What they call Prima Nocta is so this idea of a medieval lord is going to interrupt the wedding of a couple that is like farmers or peasants and what have you, and he just takes the bride and says, I have the right to have sex with her on the first night because of my Prima Nocta. Yeah, that's all a myth. I wish they used the correct Latin for it though, because Prima Nocta is wrong. So I don't know how much I can believe about this if they couldn't even find out how it was written. So in Latin it would be Jus Primae Noctis. Notice that I'm spelling it with a J. Yes, it's fine to use a J because the J was in fact created as an elongated I with a little curve by the ancient Romans, so there's nothing wrong with using a J. If you want to see a video about that, link in the description, lots of links today. Look, Ranieri at Polymathy has a dedicated video to that. But yeah, Primae Noctis. Prima Nocta is grammatically wrong in Latin. Obviously, I'm going to leave also the links to all these articles. This article is generally speaking, apart from the Latin, correct. It's not as strong as it should be. In fact, it sort of pushes it in a way that it like maybe it didn't exist, but we're not exactly sure. Yeah, it didn't exist. But if you want to check it out, feel free. I have nothing against this article anyways, apart from the Latin. Okay, but there are many other articles, so I might need to make a part 2. For today, I think I'd like to stop here. If you found any article like this, let me know. Please give me the title of the article. Don't give me a link in the comments because I don't...
Oh god, no. I can only handle one video of crack.com. Ugh! But Metatron did good. I liked it. So, like I said, I subbed to him. You saw me do that. Alright, how much of my booze do I have left? I have all this booze left and I'm already tipsy. I don't know what to do with the rest of this shit. I know I need to head off it. I need to stay off it. Because otherwise I'll get drunk. Rather than just on the high end of tipsy. So anyway, let's watch Dank's video. But first I need to use the restroom. Kind of surprised it took me that long. So, I know people don't like Dank. Yeah, he's blah, 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 blah. I don't care. He's not far right. He's just a dude. He's just a dude who does historical stuff, and it fits in the theme. So, get fucked, libtards, and shit like that. I actually don't have a problem with libtards any more than I have a problem with conservacucks. As long as you can be respectful about disagreeing, I don't care. Once you stop being respectful, well, like I said in the rules, fuck about and find out. I'm gonna go take a piss. I'll be right back. Didn't mean to slam it that hard. Whoops-a-daisy. I should put on my pants. I think it's a little too cold for my shorts. So, I should also, while I'm thinking about it, grab all these blankets and put them on my bed. Because if it's going to be cold, I should wait the shit out of it. You. If it's going to be cold, I should wait the shit out of it so that I don't fucking freeze tonight. Alright, there we go. Sweatpants on. Just check all the comments, see if I missed anything. Yeah, Brandon's right. He said something like that would attract the children. No thanks, it would attract the children. He's very right, and I think that is something definitely to file away for when we get the house. Just, let's see. Alright.
An outlaw can seem fun and exciting. Living out in the wild, always running away from the authorities, getting up to all kinds of scallywaggery, and stealing absolutely everything that you see. But it is a very difficult and dangerous life.
Excuse me.
But when it comes to trolling rich people, it's all worth it in the end. And today's outlaw is a very famous Scottish folk hero, so this one is a little bit close to my heart. Rob Roy.
Oh, what's his fucking... What's his advert? I'm just glad he finally stopped fucking blasting that music of his. Ugh, it's terrible.
Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. But before we get started, this video is brought to you by Display.
Ugh.
Planting a tree for every display that you buy.
Drizzling
This offer is only available for a limited time, so make sure you get in there fast. Robert Roy McGregor doesn't have a birth date because in the 1600s that kind of information just really wasn't recorded for lowborn people. But what was recorded was the 7th of March 1671, which was the date of his baptism. We do know that he spent his early life in Glengyle at the head of Loch Katrine, Perthshire, in Scotland. From an early age, Robert was simply known as Rob Rua, or Red Rob, due to his dark red curly hair. During the era of Rob Roy, there was a bit of a divide between the north and south of Scotland. Many people living in the Scottish lowlands looked down on the Highlanders since they spoke Scottish Gaelic and wore kilts, unlike the highbrow lowlanders who were walking around wearing actual dresses with powdered wigs. The lowlands also had a lot of infrastructure with cities and roads, whereas the people of the Highlands used the same natural routes as their ancestors. The people in the lowlands also believed themselves to be more trustworthy and fair in their dealings, but believed that the northern Scots were thieves, beggars, and opportunists. Of course, the reality is that both sides had a good share of all of the above, with some of the richest people in the lowlands being the biggest thieves out there. Rob's parents were Donald Glass McGregor and Margaret Campbell, a well-known couple since Rob's father was the chieftain of Clan Gregor. But Rob would never inherit the title himself since he was the second-born son. His father Donald also held the title of Lieutenant Colonel for serving in King Charles II's army.
Okay, so this might not be a very good video. Not to react to. We'll see how this goes, but unfortunately it's not looking good for old Danky.
and he was extremely loyal to the royal house of Stuart, as many of us still are. But anyway, he made sure to instill that exact same loyalty into
I ain't
his
loyal
son,
to nothing.
being the
I'm loyal to
son
my
of
own
a chieftain
moralities.
did come with a few perks. As a boy, Rob was educated, which was something only the privileged kids could get at the time. Records of Rob's education were another thing that just wasn't really kept during this era. However, people in the modern day know that he was well educated through letters that were collected at different times in his life, which were all written by him. And back then, even just being able to write meant that you were well educated. Despite being educated, however, people in the lowlands never treated Rob as such, and they looked down on him. Because it doesn't matter how educated he was still a Highlander. And he wasn't just any Highlander, he was a MacGregor. So, Rob was seen as one of the wild MacGregors, which is something that the lowlanders would call them. They would also be accused of being cattle rustlers and brigands. Which, it's only half true. On the 27th of July 1689, at the age of only 18, Rob Roy joined his father in the Battle of Killiecrankie, where he saw many of his friends, family and people he had known since he was born brutally killed. He and his father only just managed to escape the battle with their lives. Both Rob and his father had both been changed by the conflict, but Donald more so. And after the revolution, Rob's father was held in prison for 2 years with a broken spirit. And, as if things couldn't get any worse for him, his wife Margaret died while he was detained, which completely destroyed him mentally. All of his willpower and fighting spirit was buried along with her, which in turn affected his health overall, something which Rob would not forget. In order to survive, Rob became a reaver, which was a collector of stray Highland cattle, though the definition of stray was malleable, to say the least.
Of course it was.
After collecting the cattle, he would drive them to be sold at border markets, and with a silver tongue, Rob made a profit almost every time. Sometimes, however, things didn't always work out as planned. Sometimes, people would try to rip him off, or rob him and steal his cattle. In a fight, however, Rob was extremely skilled at using a broadsword, and some said that he had very long arms and a higher than average upper body strength, which was likely obtained due to his grueling job. However, grabbing the odd stray cow wasn't exactly very lucrative, so Rob Roy decided to up his game. In 1691, Rob organised a raid on Kippen because he had heard that a large cattle drive was supposed to be coming through the town. The owners of the cattle were mostly Whigs who were parliamentary supremacists, which meant that no one would really care what happened to them. If there was witnesses, they would probably cheer instead of snitch. Rob and his men went into the village and set up ambushes in the surrounding hills. But the local herders were extremely on edge after seeing Rob Roy and his merry band of brigands camping out in the hills, and they knew that something was about to go
Oh, them campers.
But they didn't know that their own cows would be completely fine, because they didn't know that the real target was the huge cattle drive that was about to come into town. And this ended up causing a huge problem, because when Rob and his men sprung the ambush to capture the herd, because of the misunderstanding with the local herders had actually called in reinforcements from another town to help defend the village, since they thought their own cows were the target. So, because of this confusion, Rob and his men now had a huge fight on their hands against men that they weren't planning on fighting, along with the Whigs they were originally ambushing. Despite this, Rob came out of this battle victorious, and now not only was in possession of the actual herd he had come to steal, but since all of the local herders had fled the battle, Rob took all of their cows as well. That wasn't part of the plan, but Hey-ho, might as well. This
Yeah,
is
right.
one of those stories where Rob Roy would definitely be seen in a bad light, even if it was a misunderstanding. He had no intention whatsoever of stealing from the local herdsmen, but because they attacked him, he did. As a result, the beginning of his criminal career started off with everyone hating him. In January of 1693, at the age of 22, Rob married Mary Helen MacGregor of Doon, Perthshire. And in that same year, using the name MacGregor was made illegal by the Crown due to the fact that Clan MacGregor were Jacobites and they had gained a reputation
Boy, there's a
of
fucking
being wild
can of
and
worms.
refusing to bend the knee. Though this may just be because they were Highlanders and looked down upon. Also, yeah, that was a thing that could happen. The Crown could just ban your last name. This meant that Rob had to use his mother's surname, Campbell, which is a rather unfortunate surname to have, and if you want to know why, then you should go and watch my Glencoe Massacre video. But Rob Roy's use of the name was confirmed by the signature on many of his letters, which were all signed Rob Campbell. On top of that, the Crown didn't want Clan Gregor having weapons or gathering in groups of over 4 people. At this time, Rob was working for a powerful man named James Graham, who was the first Duke of Montrose for a good number of years. Rob worked for him long enough to gain his trust and even form a good business/friendship with him. This would not last, however, as we will get into soon. But either way, during this time, the Duke had many of the restrictions on the MacGregors lifted, probably as a gesture of goodwill considering the work that Rob Roy had done for him. Every year, Rob Roy would drive his cattle to market, but he would also take other Highlanders' cattle with his own to be sold for a fee when he returned home. On top of this, because cattle owners in the lowlands kept having animals go missing, usually from theft, it was Rob's job to watch over and protect them from anyone who would come and steal them. Although, Rob did steal some himself. But this was usually because he didn't know the cattle had an owner and he thought it was a stray, or he did know the cattle had an owner, but he hated the owner. At this time, it was pretty dangerous to be a cattle farmer and drover, since people would raid farms and steal whatever they could, but Rob, being a very skilled swordsman, was really good at his job, and every year he became more and more wealthy and successful. He owned a fair amount of land on Loch Lomond and Balcahiba, and he had become so good at cattle driving and dealing that he had developed a trust with very many people, including the rich, who at this time could have had your head for so much as looking at them wrong. Rob had also developed a sense that nothing could go wrong, since he was excelling in every aspect and had done so for years now. So, in 1711, he began taking job orders for much more money than normal. This money he was given was a debt that Rob would have until he completed his journey and fulfilled his order. In 1712, however, Rob Roy messed up big time and lost a lot of cattle. And he also had most of his own money stolen by one of his most trusted men.
Ruh-roh.
Searching for the thief, he was nowhere to be found, and this meant that Rob Roy now owed his creditors massive amounts of money. Even in those days, however, you wouldn't have just been instantly thrown in jail, especially if you had been in such good standing for many years. Just like in the modern day, if the terms were accepted, you could set up a payment plan to pay back your debt. In fact, it was likely a lot better than the modern day, since you wouldn't be getting shafted with so much interest. There would still be a little bit of a blot on your record, but so long as it was paid on time, that would eventually become a rule.
Yay!
Rob Roy, however, owed a lot of money. A lot. And if he wanted, he could have just shrugged off the debt if it was owed to just some random farmer. But it wasn't owed to just some random farmer. It was owed to his boss, James Graham, 1st Duke of Montrose. And Rob Roy now owed him £30,000, which back then is an absolutely
Jesus
insane
Christ.
amount of money. And as we mentioned before, James Graham was a very rich and powerful man that owned a lot of land in the lowlands, including the south of Loch Lomond, as well as townhouses in both London and Glasgow. He was also very politically powerful and was in huge favour of the Union. Normally, like I mentioned earlier, Rob would have established a deal to pay back what he owed to the Duke of Montrose. But the Duke had been humiliated by Rob's fuck-up, so a simple payment plan just wouldn't cut it. Originally, Rob said that he would do justice to his creditors and pay all of them back. But Rob Roy was summoned to court to discuss this issue, and he refused to go. And since he refused his summons to court, the court declared him an outlaw. And for that, Rob Roy kind of changed his mind. He went, yeah, you know what, that Duke guy, yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. I'm not giving him his fucking money. I'm not giving him a fucking penny. Fuck that guy. Rob
Yeah, apparently.
is even quoted as saying, "What came upon me was partly designed by others." But he also said that he would, and I quote, "get a grip of them." Especially if they stayed living in Scotland, as, and I quote, "all the Highlands has such a kindness for me in general that they will assist me." Since he was now an outlaw, Rob Roy had to stay under the protection of the Campbells, since his mother was originally a Campbell. Because being an outlaw doesn't just mean you're a wanted man, it means you are outside of the law. The protection of law now no longer applies to you. That means that people could walk up to him and assault him, they could mug him, they could steal all his stuff. Shit, a guy could walk up to him and stab Rob Roy 47 times just for a laugh, and they wouldn't be charged with murder, because the man they killed does not have protection under the law. He is an outlaw. But Rob Roy didn't just sit quietly and wallow in the fact that he had been made an outlaw. He just carried on as normal, and instead politically played the Duke of Montrose off against two other dukes, namely the Duke of Argyll and the Duke of Atholl. So they were all too busy squabbling and fighting with each other to have any time to arrest and imprison Rob Roy. But Rob Roy wasn't completely ignored, however. In one instance, he narrowly escaped near imprisonment by the Duke of Atholl after finding out that the Duke of Montrose had sent men to take ownership of Rob Roy's lands because outlaws were not allowed to own land. So, in response, Rob travelled south to the Duke of Montrose's castle and stole 30 of his prize cattle. The Duke of Montrose, upon returning home after seizing Rob Roy's lands, asked his men, "Where the fuck have all my cows gone?" Men were then sent to follow and capture Rob Roy as he travelled back to the Highlands, which meant Rob Roy couldn't find a place to stay for the night, and he and his men had to sleep out in the hills. Then, Rob Roy did something unusual. Rob had just robbed the Duke's castle. He was on the run, and the Duke and his men were hot on his heels. So Rob went back to the Duke's castle and robbed it again. Yeah, okay, sure. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Rob stole a lot of wheat, but to be nice, he did leave a receipt behind for the Duke to find later.
Oh, wasn't that nice of him?
Then ensued very many cat and mouse chases such as this throughout the feud between Rob Roy and the Duke of Montrose. Duke constantly tried to ruin Rob Roy's honour,
fucking do it
Rob
again.
Roy, in return, hurt the Duke's ego and his pride. Rob was usually the one that came out on top, however, and he always had the last laugh. In letters by the Duke, it shows that he was so angry at Rob that he would never just write his name. He would always write his name as the villain Rob. It wasn't just cattle and grain that Rob stole from the Duke of Montrose. The thing he stole that hurt the Duke the most
was his
the rent money from his tenants. Back in the day, you had someone called a factor, and a factor's job would be to collect rent money and other debts on behalf of the Duke.
Ooh, excuse me.
Rob Roy kidnapped the Duke's factor, a man called Graham of Killern. And Rob Roy held him hostage for a whole week on an island, which, because of this incident, is now called Factor Island. Rob Roy then forced the factor to write out a lot of proof of payment receipts, and then Rob Roy did the factor's job. He went around collecting all of the rent money from all of the tenants and giving them all their proof of payment receipts. But of course, instead of then passing the money along to the Duke, Rob just kept it. Then when it came time to actually collect the rent, the renters had no money to give because they already paid their rent. Oh, that's terrible. Now they're all going to get kicked out of their homes. No, they're not. There is a reason why Rob Roy forced the factor to write out all of those proof of payment receipts. Those receipts are legally recognised documents bearing the Duke's own official sigil and signed by the Duke's own factor. They paid the money and got an official receipt. Don't like it? Then be more careful with your receipts. None of the residents had to pay again. Because legally, they didn't have to. I did pay. I have the receipt right here. Was absolutely...
That is fucking brilliant.
Furious. But the factor was released unharmed. Rob couldn't stay uncaught forever. And in 1717, he was finally imprisoned by the Duke of Atholl for fraudulent bankruptcy. But Rob then managed to escape, which was likely because of interference by the Duke of Argyll. But Rob only got a small taste of freedom before he was caught and imprisoned again. During his imprisonment in 1723, a book was published called The Highland Rogue, which was about Rob Roy's life, though it did mostly mythologise and exaggerate a lot of his achievements. But years later, in 1727, Rob Roy was due to be transported to Barbados to become an indentured servant. But, luckily for him, he received a pardon from King George I, and some believe that the book, The Highland Rogue, may have been part of the reason for his pardon. So Rob Roy was now free again, but his ordeal had worn him down a lot, and the fact that he was now well into his 50s didn't really help. So at this point, Rob Roy decided that he was now going to live as a law-abiding, peaceful man for the remainder of his life. And that is exactly what he did. He settled down on his farm in Inverlochlarrig in Balquhidder and eventually died quietly in his house on the 28th of December 1734 at the age of 63. The foundations of his house are still there and you can go and see them for yourself, and you can also visit the gravesite of Rob Roy and his wife and son. Rob Roy since then has become mythologised in Scottish culture, and a lot of people remember his story very fondly. There was also a movie released about his life in 1995, which was extremely loosely based on the events of Rob Roy's life. I mean, it's an okay movie, but the only problem is that a lot of the stories are changed or fabricated or absolutely didn't happen. There's even a main character that was just completely made up. I don't know what it is with Hollywood and Scottish history, but they just never get it right, do they? I mean, I'd recommend you still give it a little bit of a watch, but just don't expect too much accuracy. Rob Roy is still a very divisive character to this day. Some people think of him as a folk hero, while others see him as just a common criminal. But he's still a very much talked about and referenced character in Scottish history. There's also a walk that you can go on called the Rob Roy Way, where it's thought to be the path that he took his cattle down when he was
I
travelling.
really need a better fucking weapon.
Cattle that he stole.
Thank you on YouTube. Everybody subscribe.
Alright, that's enough of that. And that's all the videos that I feel like listening to tonight. What time is it? 11 o'clock? Ah, it tracks. So yeah, I don't know if Danky's gonna be in the routine. don't really have that much to say on Danky. So let's see, what's our next video? Oh, God in heaven. That's gonna be depressing. So yeah, we'll deal with those later. We'll deal with those later. Go away. Fucking hell. Okay, let's turn this up. No, son of a bitch. I need to keep the Reddit link up so that I can there we go. So that I can link it properly. Christ almighty, what is wrong with my brain? Oh yeah, I'm drunk. So yeah, Rob Roy. Don't really have much to say on him. Sounds like a modern day Robin Hood. Well, modern being not exactly right, but whatever. But yeah, this is all just a process, finding out what works, finding out what doesn't. Dankula, probably not the best to use Scottish history as a video. Because while I am Scottish, I'm quite removed from Scotland. So... Motherfucker! I desperately need a new weapon. Christ almighty! Must kill all the eastern stuffs. Yeah, making my Chocobo a healer seems to have been the right move. I should not be doing this with a level 1 spear. Oh, fuck off with your damn tethering. Bastards. Trees. Ah. These out real quick. What? Oh, motherfuck! Thanks for letting me know, hon. God damn it, I forgot to turn it back before I...
Julia_Sarah, you're back now.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. I mean, nobody missed anything. It was just Dank talking on screen, so it could have been worse. But still, damn it! What I get for drinking. Thank God it was all audio, right? So, yeah, that could have been worse. So, yeah, I'll finish these 2 quests and call it good enough. Get my ass back to the Lancer. And I don't know if I'll actually go to bed or not, but I will stop streaming because I've ran out of video. Well, I didn't run out of videos, but...
Julia_Sarah. No, he was up. It was when you swapped to look at the videos that you're going to do later that it switched to Chip.
Oh. Oh, that's weird. I wonder why that happened. I thought it was when I turned on... when I went to the bathroom. Oh, would you fuck off with your goddamn tethering? Ugh. Like a vault.
Julia_Sarah. Well, now I'm going to have to watch this again to see.
I still like the other video better because it connected more and I went on more rants. I didn't really have that many rants this time. So Shad and Dank are out. Which is good because I'd rather listen to them on my own. But Metatron seems to be a winner. Or at least with Dank, I need to find ones that are connected to the other stuff. Oh, let's see here. Boar Poacher. And the rest are South Stranded, yeah. Boar Poacher. If I had to guess, I'd say they're down here. So we'll go down there and see what we can find. But I think the videos in general are helping me talk more. And like you had suggested, hon, I stopped after the initial videos that I had planned to do tonight. Because that fucking worst death ever nuclear bullshit one, that one's gonna be a video all its own. That doesn't really fit in anywhere else. Right, so we need to go down this way. Find these boar poachers. I should look up the fucking website. Because these bastards have got to be here somewhere. Ah, there they are.
Julia_Sarah, where are you and what are you looking for?
Oh, this is gonna suck. Fuck, I hate this. Boar poachers. And oh, look at them, all stuck in with the rest of these fuckers. Oh good, a fate, just what I fucking wanted on top of every goddamn thing else.
Julia_Sarah, that camp has enough poachers for every class to kill. And don't you have your long-range skill yet? Flink M can run away a little bit.
Jesus Christ, yeah, no I don't. Way to heal me, you healing fucking useless buzzard motherfucker. Damn thing. Fucking tell him to. Goddamn bird. Oh, fuck off! At least that time he took some fucking damage. Go on.
Yulia
Heal
_Sarah.
up.
Keep talking about your chocobo like that and he'll run away forever.
Mandelbrot, you only have one job. Heal me. This motherfucker. There we go. That's a good split. Half and half. There we go. Now all that's left is central, south, and south. That's fine. And we can turn in these quests. I am thinking I need to stop drinking scotch. Luckily, there's no more scotch. This is literally it. Don't know if it showed up or not. But I fucking hate that when I'm almost dead and the damn chocobo is full health. That is an insult. I'm insulted. Harumph, I say. That means the damn thing ain't doing his job.
Yulia _Sarah. He's a baby. And he's learning. Don't be a cranky bitch.
I'm drunk. I can be as cranky as I want to do. Also, I finished the booze. Yay, that. Nothing to it. Yeah, that's what they all fucking say. Nothing to it.
Yulia _Sarah. Keep it up and I'll hide your whiskey.
I don't drink whiskey like this, though. I drink whiskey and slugs because of the migraine. See here. Give me money. And more Dalamud Red. Where's that damn chocobo? No, I didn't want to go that way. Fucking Christ. I need to go back. No, fuck it. I'll just go this way. I'll deal with you later, you. I need a better weapon. Post fucking haste. $21 as a fucking as a lancer. That's pretty good. Jumping Jesus, I am gonna make it to midnight. I probably will fall asleep at that rate. Oh, shit. Where am I supposed to go? Arbor Buzzards. Bend Branch. That means they're in the south. Now the reason I put...
Underscore Sura, I'm 25 mining, and I'll probably hit 30 with it since I need 2 full stacks of iron ore.
I seriously would just buy that shit until such time as you have to mine it yourself. But I get why you're doing what you're doing, and it does make sense. Just, I don't have the time to do that shit. I have walking to do and such. Oh yeah, how's your foot bath going? God damn it.
Alien underscore Sura, I want house. Need house.
Well, there's still houses available. Ah, my fingers are numb. No, I don't want to go that way. I wish people watched this so that they could see me all drunk and floppy.
Yulia underscore Sura, and it went wonderfully. My toes are nice and relaxed now. Plus, it's helping to loosen up those damn calluses that I've been trying to get rid of.
That's good. Where the fuck are these arbor buzzards? Where the fuck are these arbor buzzards? These fuckers should be around here somewhere.
Yulia underscore Sura, down by the pier.
Oh, okay. Dune by the pier.
Yulia underscore Sura, go into the rocky area just beyond.
Right, there they are. Okay, I remember now. Probably have to kill them.
Yulia underscore Sura, slightly to the left.
Yay! I can't stop yawning. That means I'll actually be able to sleep tonight and get some proper sleep. So that means I'll probably get 10 in all. 4 from earlier and 6 from this, and which is fine. No, it's over here. It's over here. So glad I waited to unlock my mount before I did this shit. God damn, they have you all over the fucking place. Motherfucker, they are over the bridge. Son of a bitch. Fucking bullshit busy work. It's crap. It's crap. There, I fucking said it. It's crap. Eastern East Shroud. Sylvan Grown. Sylvan Sow. Okay, that's all later shit. There's the Pikmin. I knew the fuckers would show up eventually. I knew I remembered them from something. There you are, you little bastard. There you. I stab you. I really do need my, my ranged skill. No, I didn't want all this. Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! I'm drunk. Leave me alone. I'm destitute. I only have under 1 million gold. I only have 964,000 gold. There we go. That's done. Fuck off, you fucking things. Where are the last two? Fucking hell. No, no. Fuck off. No. Fuck off. Fucking thing. Upper path and upper path. Antelope Dome. Oh, I remember. Let's try this again. I remember where I'm supposed... that sounded great. I remember where I'm supposed to... Oh, wait, I just run the damn thing. Get these last two bastards, and then we'll call it good enough. Go to the Lancers Guild and get my skills that I should have gotten ages ago. Luckily, there wasn't that much booze left, so I'm only a little more drunk than I'd like to be. But my hands are numb, so that's probably a bad sign. But I'm still mentally cognizant. I can't speak it, but I can think it. That has to amount for something. What did they say on the fucking house chat? They didn't say a goddamn thing on the house chat. Of course they did. God damn it, can't I be honest? Depending on when I sleep in, you might get tomorrow off too, hon. But probably not. We all know that I'll probably wake up at like 4 in the fucking morning in pain because of the cold. Get all pissy about that. At least the single fuckers have been coming out real easily enough. And it's not like I'm gonna have a hangover from this. This isn't drunk enough. It's almost drunk enough, but not quite. That last slug I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's still not as bad as it could have been. Good, fuck off. 8? 8. Oh, yes. Wait, no, I need over here. Fuck! Goddamn thing. A Sylvan Sow. Or no, oh, fuck, I remember where this is. The Keycurn Beater is up this way. I'm missing a step. Because I keep mistaking the Maelstrom stuff for the Lancer stuff. I hate when all my extremities get all numb. Who doesn't hate that? There's the little bastards. Come here, you. I'm gonna fuck you up. Like a boss. Come here, you. I fight you, you little rat bastards. Literally. Yeah, that's how you fucking play this game. That's the right way. Definitely should stop before I die. Wait, how many times have I died? I know there's a way to check that. I guess there isn't. Shit. That's depressing. I've only had one death so far, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, I'm level 22. That means I can do more quests. Yay that. I love how I become fully blind when I'm fucking drunk. Full rocking, full rolling, full whole thing. I become Stevie Wonder, who also had the same condition I did. Yay! I'm a winner. Yay me. Let's go to New Gudania. Yeah, sure, why not? The suck part is I know I'm drunk enough that I shouldn't be bugging Chip, but I really want to give him a hug. I want my own dog already, goddammit. I hate waiting for this new fucking house, but damn it if they're not right. Brandon and Derek are both shutting me out on getting a new dog because they say that we don't have enough room, and damn it if they're not right. But fuck, I want another dog. I want my dog, damn it. What the fuck? Oh, there we go. Fucking pops. There's a foot. There's events afoot. Ooh, drink. Yum. Yummy coffee is yummy. Ah. Bone armor. Ooh, dark skin, light hair. He's an edgelord. Will you take their plaque? Is that how you show you're a big man? All will know you are a bitch. I'm not a craven, let me fight. I'll fuck your ass up. I'll kick the shit out of you, bitch. I will show you pain. But not now. I'll do it later. Do it tomorrow when I'm not drunk. Behold my mighty goggles! Your quilted armor is no match for his bone armor. Ew, he's got a man bun. That makes him an inferior trainer, that's what I say. Jesus Christ, I am really fucking drunk. Well, I'm really tipsy. I'm just this side of drunk. Yeah, I have a new weapon. It is a new weapon. Ew, that bone harpoon looks like shit. Anyway, I have been Mad Max. I will be back tomorrow. I will not be drunk. I will see you all next time. This was enjoyable. I learned a lot. Shadow and Dank's Scottish stuff just doesn't work. We'll have to keep fine-tuning this bitch. Anyway, I will see y'all next time.